It is difficult to think of football without the big hits. 200-pound human beings crashing into each other at sprinting speed. However, these massive collisions are double-edged. They can draw attention and attraction to the sport, but also cause players to have greatly shortened careers. Understanding the physics behind these collisions can help create better pads and helmets to mitigate the effects of big hits. All football plays can be broken down into classical physics of momentum and energy. Think about a wide receiver making a catch and colliding midair with the defender. These plays usually end up poorly and a receiver as they are not able to brace for impact while focusing on the ball. However, total momentum is conserved, so there is only need to observe what is happening right before contact and right after they stop interacting. For example, say a 200-pound receiver, about 90 kilograms, moving in one direction collides with a 250-pound or 113-kilogram defender headed in the opposite direction. The two come to a stop and fall straight down. In this case, conservation of momentum means the initial momentum of the two moving players must be added up to the same total of the two after collision because they are not moving. In this case, the lighter receiver must have been going slightly faster than the heavier, let's say 5 meters per second to 4 meters per second. The change in momentum in each case is exactly the same, meaning the force experienced by each is the same. But why is it that naturally the smaller of the two players experienced more force seemingly? Because what we detect as a sensation of force is actually acceleration, or the change in velocity divided by the duration of the collision. And in football, the collision, the smaller player experiences an acceleration that is about 25% greater at the same amount of time. The acceleration is responsible for the sensation of force, and our internal organs slosh around. It's also what is responsible for the concussions that currently are a major part of NFL teams. This acceleration causes the brain to shift violently and run up against the side of the skull and lead to a greater chance of injury. The way to protect against this damage is to reduce the acceleration, which is why football helmets have thick padding on the inside. The padding compresses during an impact, prolonging the duration of the collision and reducing the acceleration. The total change in momentum is the same, but it takes a little longer to happen, and thus reduces the acceleration. On the flip side, this explains why one of the biggest causes of concussions is collisions with the ground. Other players covered in protective pads are often more yielding than the playing surface. A collision with the ground produces the same change in momentum as a collision with the player, but it's over a faster period of time, leading to greater acceleration. All football fields have a shock absorbency metric called Gmax. To measure it, an object that is approximating a human head and neck is dropped from a height of 2 feet. A low Gmax means the field absorbs more energy than the player, and the alert zone for a possible concussion is around 100 Gs. A cushy Gmax is around 60, but most synthetic surfaces have ratings up to 120. The hardest playing surface is frozen grass. Altogether, the repetitiveness of contact to the head in the area of football not only leads to abundant concussions, but can cause chronic brain damage over time. Even after players have retired, they can experience the effects of their jawing careers in the form of CTE, a neurodegenerative disease caused by repeated head trauma. That is what our proposed helmet design is trying to combat: the aggressive, repetitive injuries to the brain caused by quick deceleration and head collisions.